Hey everybody, I am on my second video of the day. There's something on, oh, it's on my screen. I thought there was something like in the video that was kind of messed up there. It is just on my screen. I just fixed it there. So I was like, what is that? It was like a piece of lint or something. Anyway, I'm in my backyard. You might think this is a gardening video. It's not. Okay, so whatever title I come up with, I hope doesn't misdirect you into thinking this is about gardening, even though I do have a lot of really great plants in my backyard. So I don't make videos in my backyard very often, but I have this rule with myself I'm trying to stick to where you can hear the wind blowing today. It's pretty gusty, definitely cloudy, and it feels nice outside. I'm gonna go run some errands. It's only 3:22 in the afternoon. Good time of day on a Sunday to get started with your stuff, but my rule I'm trying to stick to is when I have something that comes to my mind that feels important and significant enough for me to share about, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to like go in and be like, oh, time to write out my notes and edit it 15 times and then ask other people if it's worth doing and all this stuff. No, I'm just going to do it. So anyway, my thoughts today that I appreciate you receiving, that I'm sharing here with you right now, are about this shirt. This shirt has got George Washington and Jesus on it. And it says, it's like they don't, what does it even say there? Don't listen at all. It's like they don't listen at all. And Jesus is like, bro, same, right? Agreeing with George Washington. I just wanted to say that I think this shirt's brilliant, first of all. And if you're willing to listen here to me, okay, that's part of the problem, right? It's part of the problem, I think, with the way the brain tricks us. And I'm going to make a much more thorough video on this topic later. But our brain tricks us a lot of the time with being defensive. And if your brain detects that somebody's going to say something that is not in line with you or your group that you're a part of, then your brain all of a sudden is like, nope, shit, I'm getting out of here. I'm turning this off, or I hate this person, or they're stupid, or something, right? So if your brain is starting to think that it's not wanting to listen to me, I encourage you to tell your brain to chill out, okay? Tell your brain to relax. I just want to talk about a couple things about what I believe this shirt is suggesting that George and Jesus here might be agreeing upon on some kind of crazy stuff. And I do need to get going. Like I said, it's almost 3:30 on a Sunday. I'm a soccer referee and I work at an arcade. I haven't been doing those things the last few weeks, so I need to use my free time on the weekends a little bit more wisely, which I believe this is also worth doing, like I was saying. So anyway, George Washington said a lot of profound things as the first president of the United States. And I'll just pinpoint one, which I think he might be frustrated about, being like, it's like they didn't even listen. George Washington, if you look it up, he said some very profound things about political parties. And he said way more than that. But I just want to focus on one of his things that he might be lamenting here in terms of people not paying attention to his words, right? And so George Washington said, I'm not going to read it out loud. He basically said that people should beware of political parties because they're these like clever engines. He said something of that degree. It's like they're these machines that can be pretty darn clever. And then instead of working for you, they end up basically betraying you and taking power and just screwing everything up. That's essentially what he says. If you want to get a different interpretation on that, then feel free to look it up. Just look up George Washington's words on political parties. Essentially what he's saying, again, is like, they sound like a great idea. They look like they're a ticket toward getting things done, but in reality, they just hijack the system, and even bigger and more dangerously than that, they hijack people's brains, and then before you know it, they're just abusing the situation, taking power, and not looking back, right? So that's one of the things George said, right? What are some things that Jesus said, right? Jesus was like, the one that came to my brain that made me want to make that, or led me to make this video, is I was thinking about money, right? I was thinking about how I'm not a super religious person by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think Jesus was a very cool guy and had a lot of really important things to say. And I think he might even have, God / supernatural, roles in the world. I'm open to it, right? I'm open to it. I don't know for sure. And some people say they do, some people say they don't. My truth right now is that I'm open to it, but I don't know. So again, if you agree or disagree with that, that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter because your truth is for you, mine is for me. And right now I'm open to it. And whether or not, that aspect of Jesus's place and role, as a God or not a God or something in between, that's not what the point is here. If you're a believer, one of the things he said was, or in the Bible also, is not to be like selfish, right? Is, don't be greedy. And if there's one thing I think we can all agree on in the world today, in the United States today, in just modern society for the most part, there's, I'm sure there's a scale, some places more than others. Man, greed is just everywhere. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Holy cow. Another thing Jesus said would be nice is to be nice to each other, to love your neighbor, to unconditionally love people, to forgive people. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. And what's wild is that, the wild thing for me is not just the amount of greed, the amount of like unloving behavior, the amount of like just vindictive and mean responses to people who do you wrong, which is the opposite of forgiveness, right? Let's check in on George and Jesus there. George, Jesus, how you guys doing? Still agreeing with each other? They're still saying the same thing, still agreeing. So anyway, the problem again, the greed, the hatred, the meanness, all this kind of stuff out there, the non-forgiving of people that are your enemies and all these sorts of things. For me, it's just, which goes along with my shirt in the video, it's not just that it is out there, it's that I see lots and lots of Jesus followers behaving that way. And I'm just like, guys. It must be very convenient to like call oneself a Jesus follower and subscribe to the Christian doctrine while also conveniently being extremely greedy and piling up money and inventing reasons why you shouldn't help people with money, or like it's your fault for being in trouble and being poor and having these struggles, not my responsibility to help you out, even though I think that Jesus kind of asks you to, ask for his followers to, and doesn't ask you to go give them like a, interview on whether or not they deserve help or not. I'm not saying to enable people. I'm just saying I don't think Jesus said that you're supposed to like, figure out if people are deserving of help. I think he was basically saying to help the poor and help your neighbors, right? But yeah, again, the greed, the meanness and all this stuff, the amount of Christian Jesus followers that I see who behave this way, and of course lots of non-Christians, people of all religions, right? How many religions out there have things that recommend really good and sweet and kind and, like loving neighbor behavior, and their followers don't show it, right? But I don't have those guys on my shirt. I have George and Jesus on my shirt. So since Jesus is on the shirt there with George, and a lot of people like to call the United States a Christian nation, I feel like these two guys go well together for that claim. And I just think there's a lot to be said about their complaints in this here. So many people have allowed their brains to jump on board and be like, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, it's like my identity, we're the good guys, the other ones are the bad guys, whatever we do is good, whatever they do is bad, and that's just the way it's gonna be. I'm just like, too bad YouTube didn't exist when George was around Washington, because maybe if he had a chance to like say what he said on video and like explain himself a little bit better, we could like pull up his videos now and be like, look, George is actually saying that. It's not just this quote that somebody wrote down and attributed to him, just these cold words. Look, George is actually saying it. He's like, don't get into these political parties because they're gonna melt your brain down and replace it with this super sonic zombie thinking where you just think your freaking team is right all the time. Our species is susceptible to it. It's not your fault, right? It's not your fault. It's your brain's fault, but it is your responsibility to retrain your brain to start looking at what's the best course of action to develop more teamwork and create a better like society and civilization and world. because that, that Lord of the Flies, me against you, woo, lots of wind, lots of wind, lots of wind. Anyway, so yeah, that mentality and that the sociology behind this, like, we're right all the time and you're wrong all the time because my team is flawless and your team is nothing but wrong. That's just a recipe for disaster. And FYI, people, the United States is like in disaster lane right now. It's easy to think it's not, because the stuff that Jesus said not to get too into, which is like getting rich and, just all into power and all this sort of stuff, while we distract ourselves with the stuff that Jesus said not to worry too much about, it helps to not see the stuff that George was warning about, which is like, the collapse of like doing a good job for your country when you get into some of that crazy thinking, political parties being one. But there's a lot. Anyway, look into what George and Jesus, pretty prominent guys in history with a lot of very profound things to say. Look into what they say and ask yourself, do their followers, the descendants of the United States founding, current Americans, are we really heeding the warnings of the people that created our country? If you think we are, I think it's more crucial to ask yourself, am I thinking that we are through a certain lens? Am I a proud conservative and I've got all the answers because conservative thinking is the right way to go? Am I a proud, shameless liberal who has it all figured out because liberal thinking is the right answer? Or are you actually listening to my video here a little bit, and do you have enough space in your brain left over to maybe just like open up the window of opportunity to realize that you are so in love with the idea that your side is right all the time, that you might be able to move into something new. You might be able to develop like a new freedom into understanding that again, it's just your brain playing tricks on you. It's just your brain playing tricks. But anyway, hey, I'm getting a little carried away. It's not too long of a video. A lot of the time I'll be like, I'm going to share really, really quickly. And then I look up right there on my screen and I'm like, holy cow, it's been 45 minutes of quick sharing. But this is pretty fast. It's only about 13 minutes. So again, if you want to just think to yourself again, right? It's like they don't even, what's it say there? It's like they didn't even listen at all. It's like they didn't listen at all, and Jesus is agreeing. So think about what George Washington and Jesus, were about. Ask if the people who believe in them as Americans, as Christians, and ask about it with anybody else, like, do you see the followers of anything out there? Here's what I'm going to leave you with right now. I'm going to zip it. Ask yourselves if the followers of any movement, okay, are they able to take the goodness of a message and allow it to grow into greatness and to like almost, nothing's perfect, right? But are the followers of a movement with great ideas, are they allowing themselves to actually move forward with like a pureness of sorts to just create a good world out of those good ideas? Or is there something about being a human, okay? Is there something about being a human that wants to like twist and morph these like ideas of unconditional love and like, individual thinking instead of like jumping on to groups and letting them do our thinking for us, right? Is there something that just takes us over as a species and like wants to rationalize, be like, I'm going to get rich all day long. I'm going to put my foot on my opponent all day long. I'm going to just create animosity and ugliness and all these just horrible ways of being, and I'm going to have a good reason for it. I'm going to have a good reason for it while just kind of not really remembering what these great ideas really were about and what these people were trying to get us to live by. Again, George and Jesus it's pretty interesting. Again, I could talk forever, and you don't need that, and I don't really need to do it. Like I said, I've got a day to go through. Hey, if you feel triggered by my questions, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. I'm just asking, let's all talk. Let's talk and think about it. Let's figure out how to be better people and create a better world. I feel like that's really the goal, right? I mean, are we trying to do good things together? Or are we trying to beat each other up and just be critical and mean and all that bad stuff, right? Let's work together. So let me know your thoughts. And yeah, let's build some good stuff together. Let's build some good stuff. Thanks for listening, everybody. Wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing it well and that you are great. And I'll talk to you next time. Appreciate you.